What the hell kind of country is this where I can only hate a man if he's white?
Everybody is talking about the way you're feeling. Are you having doubts?
Oh, Boogie Bumper, thank you for the diamond.
As the nights grow cold, for love to last into his heart and soul. Now trouble with emotions, knowing what to say. Seconds turn to hours, hours turn to days. Tears upon a pillow, from the heart's filled with pain.
Hey, Victor Voucher.
Never be the same. Now I'm all alone with a broken heart. Give you everything right from the start. Heart and soul. Girl, you need to know how you tore my world apart. Didn't give enough. Didn't give enough. Heart and soul. Staring out your window as the rain turns to snow, like a rose in the water, has it left grow? Like the seasons always changing, you couldn't stand the test of time. Like a rabbit without a reason, made you change your mind. Now I'm on the road with a broken heart. Give you everything right from the start. Heart and soul. Don't even know how you tore my world apart. Didn't give enough. Didn't give enough. Heart and soul. Can't keep it locked up Now I'm on the road with a broken heart. Give you everything right from the start. Heart and soul. Don't even know just how you tore my world apart. Didn't give enough. Heart and soul. No, didn't give enough. Heart and soul.
Shit. What the hell was that? All right, guys. Welcome aboard. It's Thursday night, I think. I don't know. I'm still tired from Tuesday and Wednesday morning. 2 hours of sleep. I have not made up that sleep yet. So, with that being said, I guess Trump is on again.
All right, we're working on a 2008 Ford
I
Focus.
think Monica brought that up. Let
cylinder
me
head
see if I can
temperature
find
sensor
it
down it.
somewhere. Does anybody know who's airing that on YouTube? Maybe Let's see. Team Trump, maybe. All right. Looking for it now. Oh, nothing live. I wonder who's airing it. All right, Victor. I'm trying to find it now, and I don't see anything live on. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. I got it live here. I'll play it live here. Here we go. Oh, it says stay tuned. It hasn't started yet. So it's up there. We'll see what happens when it starts. All right, I'll play it. In the spirit of democracy. Let me see if yours is playing yet. This one on YouTube from CNBC is not playing. Victor's got one with some action, but Trump isn't speaking, so let's pull that one up.
Talking about it, sir, and there's a team in Michigan doing exactly what we're doing here, so I can assure you the people of Michigan.
All right,
well
so
by the Trump team.
while we're waiting for Trump to show up, how's everybody feeling?
Arizona, the bottom line is President Trump.
Where are we
is
at with
going
this?
To win Arizona. I believe it. The trend is going that way. I spoke to the president yesterday morning, and I told him I believe that Arizona is going to go for President Donald J.
Nevada
Trump.
needs to close the deal. That's how I'm feeling about it.
What's that, Victor?
He's
Victor
gonna
Von Troom has
win
joined us
America.
in the Discord chat there.
Nevada needs to close the deal.
She said, absolutely.
Nevada. Well, now they're trying to say they found more votes in Georgia all of a sudden. So who the hell knows?
I had the same mom, so I hurt myself double.
You just asked that question.
This
and
is
I answered it. I didn't
this
ask-
is
I
insane.
didn't-
I never saw any. Joe Biden has broken Barack Obama's record for 2008. I'm sorry, but I don't see it. As much as I disliked Barack Obama, I do not see Joe
Yeah,
garnering
our legal team
more
is
votes
clearly
than Barack
looking at
Obama,
those types of
who
questions. It's
actually
been very
campaigned.
well documented that those are some
The thing
concerns
is,
by
it would have
thousands
if he had
of
campaigned.
people
Then
in
it
the
would have
state
made
of
sense.
Arizona.
But
So they're
since
not
he
unfounded
couldn't
to the
campaign,
people that it affected.
Exactly.
There's a process.
He
for
ran
those
on
people
no
and for
platform
our
whatsoever.
campaign to go
He
through, and
ran
that's what
on Trump is
where
bad.
the team is currently looking at, obviously.
That's it. Trump is bad.
Thank you all very
Not
much.
what
Happy to take
I'm
any
gonna
more
do.
questions after
Trump
we're
is
done.
bad.
Is that good with you, Councilman?
And
Well,
these
Thank you
these
all for
counties coming, or these states coming in.
willing
Oh,
to take
let
some
me
more
tone
questions.
her down
Everybody
because she's
here
shrill.
from you all.
These states saying that they have 90+% of registered voters, which has never happened in our history. It's mind-boggling right now.
as much of hate voting could be a thing, the main problem is Biden is nobody. Harris is even worse.
Right.
And that's the thing with the Democrats. They, if it was Barack Obama, for instance, the whole voting thing going toe to toe would have made sense, because you would have the hate voters and the hopeful voters. But this can't be all the hate voters. That's just not impossible.
No, and especially when Trump doubled minority votes, more than doubled in some cases, minority votes. And
Not just
actually,
minority votes, but have you seen how many counties he got?
yes. Oh well, while Trump
That's absurd compared to
Trump's
2016.
up. Let me bring this up. I'll keep an eyeball out on Trump showing up, but let me show you this today. Here comes the elitism. It's just they are chomping at the bit to go after people. Let me find it. Let me grab this, move this over here. Hold on there, Victor. 1 second. Ooh, no, there it is. Okay. All still North Carolina and Georgia still up in the air. They found more votes in Georgia. I heard enough to get Biden over the hump. Apparently. Let's pull up that Trump is not out yet. Here's a tweet that I thought was interesting. Nope, that's not it. Ray Kwong. Good morning. If you only look at one map today, make it this one. This is what red blue states really look like. Land does not vote. People do. Here we go. They want to get rid of the Electoral College so that New York City and Detroit and LA and a few select left-wing cities control America. Because they think, the people in the rest of the counties in America, unless you're in a blue center, as we discussed last night on Daily Boogie, unless you're in a blue center, you're a worthless piece of shit and you should listen to us. You got to see some of the comments in that thread.
Yes, but on Boogie's show where Major Tom was like, we need to restructure California, we Dutch did the rezoning of our counties in, I believe, right after the Pim Fortuyn assassination, because they lost for about 4 months, and then Pim Fortuyn died before he got to be a president, and so they rezoned everything. So now we can be pretty much 90% of the Netherlands has to vote against them to get them out now. So rezoning those zones is a fool's errand.
Trump is up here now.
With an update on our efforts to protect the integrity of our very important 2020 election. If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. To name just a few, we won these and many other victories despite historic election interference from big media, big money, and big tech. As everybody saw, we won by historic numbers. And the pollsters got it knowingly wrong. They got it knowingly wrong. We had polls that were so ridiculous, and everybody knew it at the time. There was no blue wave that they predicted. They thought there was going to be a big blue wave. That was false. It was done for suppression reasons. But instead, there was a big red wave. And it's been properly acknowledged, actually, by the media. They were, I think, very impressed. But that was after the fact. That doesn't do us any good. We kept the Senate despite having twice as many seats to defend as Democrats. And in a really much more competitive states, we did a fantastic job with the Senate. I think we're very proud of what's happened there. We had many more seats to defend. They spent almost $200 million on Senate races in South Carolina and Kentucky alone, 2 races, and hundreds of millions of dollars overall against us. At the national level, our opponents' major donors were Wall Street bankers and special interests. Our major donors were police officers, farmers, everyday citizens. Yet for the first time ever, we lost 0 races in the House. I was talking to Kevin McCarthy today. He said he couldn't believe it. 0 races, very unusual thing, 0. And actually won many new seats with, I think, many more on the way. This was also the year of the Republican woman. More Republican women were elected to Congress than ever before. That's a great achievement. I won the largest share of non-white voters of any Republican in 60 years, including historic numbers of Latino, African American, Asian American, and Native American voters.
Hey, you subscribed.
The largest ever.
Does it feel good?
In our history. We grew our party by 4 million voters, the greatest turnout in Republican Party history. Democrats are the party of the big donors, the big media, the big tech, it seems, and Republicans have become the party of the American worker, and that's what's happened. And we're also, I believe, the party of inclusion. As everyone now recognizes, media polling was election interference in the truest sense of that word, by powerful special interests. These really phony polls, I have to call them phony polls, fake polls, were designed to keep our voters at home, create the illusion of momentum for Mr. Biden, and diminish Republicans' ability to raise funds. They were what's called suppression polls. Everyone knows that now. And it's never been used to the extent that it's been used on this last election. To highlight just a few examples, the day before election, Quinnipiac, which was wrong on every occasion that I know of, had Joe Biden up by 5 points in Florida, and they were off by 8.4 points, and I won Florida easily. So they had me losing Florida by a lot, and I ended up winning Florida by a lot. Other than that, they were very accurate. They had him up 4 points in Ohio, and they were up by 12.2 points. And I also won Ohio, great state of Ohio, very easily. The Washington Post said Biden up 17 points in Wisconsin, and it was basically even. They were off by about 17 points. And they knew that. They're not stupid people. They knew that. Suppression. There are now only a few states yet to be decided in the presidential race. The voting apparatus of those states are run in all cases by Democrats. We were winning in all the key locations by a lot, actually. And then our numbers started miraculously getting whittled away in secret. And they wouldn't allow legally permissible observers. We went to court in a couple of instances, and we were able to get the observers put in. And when the observers got there, they wanted them 60, 70 feet away, 80 feet, 100 feet away, or outside the building to observe people inside the building. And we won a case, a big case, and we have others happening. There are lots of litigation, even beyond our litigation. There's tremendous amount of litigation generally because of how unfair this process was. And I predicted that. I've been talking about mail-in voting for a long time. It's really destroyed our system. It's a corrupt system, and it makes people corrupt even if they aren't by nature, but they become corrupt. It's too easy. They want to find out how many votes they need, and then they seem to be able to find them. They wait, and then they find them. And you see that on election night. We were ahead in vote in North Carolina by a lot, tremendous number of votes. And we're still ahead by a lot, but not as many because they're finding ballots all of a sudden. Oh, we have some mail-in ballots. It's amazing how those mail-in ballots are so one-sided, too. I know that it's supposed to be to the advantage of the Democrats, but in all cases, they're so one-sided. We were up by nearly 700,000 votes in Pennsylvania. I won Pennsylvania by a lot, and that gets whittled down to, I think they said now we're up by 90,000 votes, and they'll keep coming and coming and coming. They find them all over, and they don't want us to have any observers, although we won a court case. The judge said you have to have observers. Likewise in Georgia, and they're appealing. Actually, they're appealing. We won a case that we want people to watch, and we want observers, and they're actually appealing, which is sort of interesting. I wonder why they'd appeal, that all we want to do is have people watch as they do the vote tabulations. Likewise in Georgia, I won by a lot, with a lead of over getting close to 300,000 votes on election night in Georgia. And by the way, got whittled down, and now it's getting to be to a point where I'll go from winning by a lot to perhaps being even down a little bit. In Georgia, a pipe burst in a faraway location, totally unrelated to the location of what was happening, and they stopped counting for 4 hours, and a lot of things happened. The election apparatus in Georgia is run by Democrats. We also had margins of 300,000 in Michigan. We're way up in Michigan, won the state. And in Wisconsin, we did likewise fantastically well. And that got whittled down. In every case, they got whittled down. Today, we're on track to win Arizona. We only need to carry, I guess, 55% of the remaining vote, 55% margins, and that's a margin that we've significantly exceeded. So we'll see what happens with that, but we're on track to do okay in Arizona. Our goal is to defend the integrity of the election. We'll not allow the corruption to steal such an important election, or any election for that matter. And we can't allow anybody to silence our voters and manufacture results. I've been doing a lot of public things for a long time. I've never had anything that's been as inspirational, by people calling, talking, sending things to us. I've never seen such love and such affection and such spirit as I've seen for this. People know what's happening, and they see what's happening, and it's before their eyes. And there are many instances which will be reported very shortly. There's tremendous litigation going on, and this is a case where they're trying to steal an election. They're trying to rig an election, and we can't let that happen. Detroit and Philadelphia, known as two of the most corrupt political places anywhere in our country, easily cannot be responsible for engineering the outcome of a presidential race, a very important presidential race. In Pennsylvania, Democrats have gone to the state Supreme Court to try and ban our election observers, and very strongly. Now, we won the case, but they're going forward. They don't want anybody in there. They don't want anybody watching them as they count the ballots. And I can't imagine why. There's absolutely no legitimate reason why they would not want to have people watching this process, because if it's straight, they should be proud of it. Instead, they're trying, obviously, to commit fraud. There's no question about that. In Philadelphia, observers have been kept far away, very far away, so far that people are using binoculars to try and see. And there's been tremendous problems caused. They put paper on all of the windows so you can't see in. And the people that are banned are very unhappy and become somewhat violent. The 11th Circuit ruled that in Georgia, the votes have been in by Election Day, that they should be in by Election Day, and they weren't. Votes are coming in after Election Day. And they had a ruling already that you have to have the votes in by Election Day. To the best of my knowledge, votes should be in by Election Day. And they didn't do that. Democrat officials never believed they could win this election, honestly. I really believe that. That's why they did the mail-in ballots, where there's tremendous corruption and fraud going on. That's why they mailed out tens of millions of unsolicited ballots without any verification measures whatsoever. And I've told everybody that these things would happen, because I've seen it happen. I watched a lot of different elections before they decided to go with this big, massive election with tens of millions of ballots going out to everybody, in many cases totally unsolicited. This was unprecedented in American history. This was by design. Despite years of claiming to care about the election security, they refused to include any requirement to verify signatures, identities, or even determine whether they're eligible or ineligible to vote. People are walking in there. They have no idea. They're just taking numbers. They're writing down things, the workers, and doing a lot of bad things. And we have a lot of information coming and litigation that you'll see that will shake even you people up. And you've seen it all. The officials overseeing the counting in Pennsylvania and other key states are all part of a corrupt Democrat machine that you've written about. And for a long time, you've been writing about the corrupt Democrat machine. I went to school there, and I know a lot about it. It hasn't changed. It's a long time ago, and hasn't changed. It's gotten worse. In Pennsylvania, partisan Democrats have allowed ballots in the state to be received 3 days after the election. And we think much more than that. And they're counting those without even postmarks or any identification whatsoever. So you don't have postmarks, you don't have identification. There have been a number of disturbing irregularities across the nation. Our campaign has been denied access to observe any counting in Detroit. Detroit is another place. And I wouldn't say it has the best reputation for election integrity. Poll workers in Michigan were duplicating ballots. But when our observers attempted to challenge the activity, those poll workers jumped in front of the volunteers to block their view so that they couldn't see what they were doing. And it became a little bit dangerous. One major hub for counting ballots in Detroit covered up the windows again with large pieces of cardboard. And so they wanted to protect and block the counting area. They didn't want anybody seeing the counting, even though these were observers who were legal observers that were supposed to be there. In Detroit, there were hours of unexplained delay in delivering many of the votes for counting. The final batch did not arrive until 4 in the morning. And even though the polls closed at 8 o'clock, so they brought it in and the batches came in and nobody knew where they came from. We've also been denied access to observe in critical places in Georgia. In multiple swing states, counting was halted for hours and hours on election night, with results withheld from major Democrat-run locations only to appear later. And they suddenly appeared, and they all had the name Biden on them, or just about all. I think almost all. They all had the name Biden on them, which is a little strange. I challenge Joe and every Democrat to clarify that they only want legal votes, because they talk about votes, and I think they should use the word legal votes. We want every legal vote counted, and I want every legal vote counted. We want openness and transparency, no secret count rooms, no mystery ballots, no illegal votes being cast after Election Day. You have Election Day, and the laws are very strong on that. You have an Election Day, and they don't want votes cast after Election Day, and they want the process to be an honest one. It's so important. We want an honest election, and we want an honest count, and we want honest people working back there, because it's a very important job. So that's the way this country is going to win. That's the way the United States will win. And we think we will win the election very easily. We think there's going to be a lot of litigation because we have so much evidence, so much proof, and it's going to end up perhaps at the highest court in the land. We'll see. But we think there'll be a lot of litigation because we can't have an election stolen like this. And I tell you, I have been talking about this for many months with all of you. And I've said very strongly that mail-in ballots are going to end up being a disaster. Small elections were a disaster. Small, very easy to handle elections were disastrous. This is a large-scale version, and it's getting worse and worse every day. We're hearing stories that are horror stories, absolute horror stories. And we can't let that happen to the United States of America. It's not a question of who wins, Republican, Democrat, Joe, myself. We can't let that happen to our country. We can't be disgraced by having something like this happen. So it will be hopefully cleared up, maybe soon, I hope soon, but it'll probably go through a process, a legal process. And as you know, I've claimed certain states, and he's claiming states, and we can both claim the states. But ultimately, I have a feeling judges are going to have to rule. But there's been a lot of shenanigans, and we can't stand for that in our country. Thank you very much.
And the clapping soundbite was for Victor Von Schroom. There you go, Victor. All right.
He killed them softly.
Well, to Boogie's point, no hard evidence, but obviously they've got something that they're going to go to court
They
with.
got hard evidence.
They must have something, because he mentioned it a few times, but he really didn't give you specifics. Obviously, you don't want to give that out right now before you're taking it to court, right? Or litigating it. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know what's going on in Arizona. They keep calling it for Biden. It's been flipping back and forth. I've never seen anything where any country where you're allowed to continue voting after Election Day. This is just insane. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, but what Trump just did, I was worried at first, where I was like, either he's going to throw in the towel or he's going to kill him. And I guarantee you, tonight they're going to crack down on the polling stations. Because his speech was currently just killing them softly.
Well, you know what's going to be interesting, because remember in 2016 when Democrats demanded a recount in Michigan and Wisconsin, what happened? They started throwing out ballots that were invalid, and Trump was gaining, and then they begged for the recount to stop. So,
yes, but this, like I said before, many times before in your show, they're banking on Biden win, and it's not going to happen anymore.
So you're in the James R. Optimistic crew, then, right?
My only worrisome point is the courts, because the Democrats have been campaigning hard to get Democratic courts.
Well, actually, at the
that's
federal,
the only scary bit.
But then it goes to the federal level.
Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just want a picture.
That's why they needed ACB in there.
Well, at the federal level, if you've been paying attention, and most people didn't, Trump has nominated a record number of federal judges and gotten them through. Because
exactly,
I think he knew this was coming a long time ago. To be honest with you,
he learned from the first election. He learned from the Bush election. The dude ain't stupid. He bets to win.
I think a lot of people, even people I've talked to that voted for Biden, are saying they don't believe the numbers coming out of Milwaukee and some of these counties where 95% of the electorate voted in one area in, I don't know if it's a district or precinct or whatever they call it, in Milwaukee. They had 202% of people vote. So, yeah, something's just, a lot of people who I talked to today who voted for Biden said, yes, something's not right when Joe got more votes than Barack Obama. It's just odd.
I just want to address Boogie Bumper. The GOP has been quiet for a reason. And I was worried what that reason was, but Trump's current killing him softly speech pretty much confirms why the GOP was quiet. They're waiting for the crackdown that's about to happen on the polling stations.
Oh, you think so? You think that's why they're quiet?
They had to, because you can't shout we're going to do something, because then the polling stations would be wise.
Although I did see Ted Cruz tweet out a couple of things, which
but that's Ted Cruz. They don't count Ted Cruz.
He doesn't count.
Well, seriously, the Democrats don't count Ted Cruz.
Yeah,
but if Crenshaw and those guys would have jumped on it.
Mm-hmm.
With their neocon bullshit, they would have closed the polling stations.
Right. I see what
you're saying. Because they know the neocons will show up. That's the difference. Ted Cruz can just claim all sorts of things, but when the neocons show up, they have to close the stations.
Little Arizona update from People's Pundit, and I think that's Richard Barris. Arizona update: Trump is overperforming his needed margins in Pima County and Pinal County, or Pinal County. So he's overperforming. So if what they were saying is correct, he should overtake Biden by the end of the night.
Yes, but Boogie, you love to pay close attention to Biden's gaffes and whatnot, and how he's probably an old fool who can't be as quick on his feet as he used to be. Trump's sober statement is telling. He didn't go balls to the wall so people would go out in the streets. He wants people inside so they can see.
I agree with one thing Boogie Bumper's saying. I'm getting a little tired of the it's gonna happen, it's happening, and that's, I'm sorry to my Q friends, that's just, I'm getting tired of hearing about it, to be honest with you.
Well, it's not follow the plan shit. Let's be honest. what currently is what Trump just did is basically keep the Republicans in house and glued to the TV.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that's what he needs. Because the minute they go out and cause a ruckus, the media will jump on it, and they'll miss the revelation of the whole thing coming down on them. And that's basically the agenda, I think, is now. And that's why CNN and everyone dropped Trump's speech.
Right. Everybody did, except for Fox.
Yeah. Because if the entire nation hear Trump going, we're going to do this, and it happens, everyone will know, oh, they fucked up.
Well, something better happened, because Americans' attention span, I'll tell you what, they have the attention span of a gnat. And if something major doesn't happen by Monday, you're going to start seeing people say, screw it.
He needs to crack down on the polling stations now. That's the thing.
Well, this is what I don't get. And I said this, the polling stations where the poll watchers are walking in with a court order and they are being forced away. Democrats and liberals, you guys cry transparency nonstop. What are you hiding nonstop on Twitter? But when this happens, not one blue check on Twitter has said a word. Now, if this was Ohio doing this, and it was down to Joe needs Ohio to win, and Democrat poll watchers were forced outside or the windows were blocked off so you couldn't see what they were doing, the media would air Joe Biden the entire press conference.
Well, that's the thing. We're dealing with Dallas Cowboy supporters. So that's the entire thing. As long as it goes their way, there is no fault to be had.
Yeah.
I mean, they jumped. They're so social justice warrior. They're pro black people, pro Latin people. The minute the Cubans threw the vote to Trump, the Cubans are no longer Latin people anymore. They're white supremacists.
Oh yes, if you watched, I listened to it, but if you caught Royce today on Daywave
and ROTC, they pulled those tweets on.
The blue check marks are trashing Cubans, telling them to go back to Cuba. You can't make this shit up because they didn't vote the way they wanted them to vote. It just, you don't belong here. I mean, holy cow.
That's the thing. We need at least of this year alone the blue check marks rundown, where they called black people Uncle Toms. Every Mexican they would call a drug lord. The Cubans are currently white supremacists. I mean, for crying out loud, they're Cubans.
And for a racist, his numbers from the Black, Hispanic, and even the Muslim community were outstanding compared to any Republican, and I don't, since they've been tracking it. Some racist this guy is because they were voting for him.
That's the thing. The Democrats have always played we're the pro-race party, but they've always been the racist party because they always exploited the race.
Well, even if Joe Biden is declared the winner eventually, he is going to have 4 years of nothing. Okay? He's going to be useless. A useless nothing for 4 years. Number one, the House is still in play, believe it or not, from what I'm seeing. Especially in my district, they still have not called the winner, even though she's about 30,000 votes up right now, which is a huge hill to climb. They're saying they're waiting for absentee ballots from the military, which is not going to benefit the Democrat. I can tell you that. but they still won't call her the winner. That'd be another seat pickup and another reduction for the Democrats. From what I'm seeing, this is happening in a lot of counties or districts for congressional races right now. So,
the irony is Obama pretty much screwed any Democratic win by increasing the racial gap.
Yeah.
And that killed him because they distanced themselves from the white people, from anyone who is even remotely based. And that's the problem. Most people are in the middle. And if you the minute you call the middle people based, you got a problem.
So what is Joe Biden going to accomplish in 4 years if he is the president? He doesn't have the Senate.
Biden isn't going to accomplish anything. He's going to retire within the first year.
He can't even get into the Paris Climate Accord. He can't. The Senate will just nix the money because he needs billions of dollars to get into the Paris Climate Accord, which he promised on day one. He can't just write an executive order and get the money. He could say we're back in it, but Congress has to give you the money, right? And they don't have the votes to override a veto. So if Nancy Pelosi is still in charge by a slim margin and she rams through a bill to the Senate, it's going to go nowhere. So that money is never going to Paris, right?
Well, not just the Paris Accord. His Green New Deal, all his promises are gone.
Yep. So he's going to be ineffectual for 4 years. But what's going to happen is you're going to lose the guy that was actually bringing back manufacturing and making some of these deals with the large corporations because Joe can't talk to them.
Well, here's the thing. Joe is going to retire with it. If he makes it, he's going to retire in the first year. And then you got Kamala. I don't know if you have seen her the last few months. I don't know what kind of pills she's been taking, but she is losing it harder than Joe.
Well, the only thing she can do is try to write executive orders for all of this wish list, which will go nowhere. Without the money, you can't do anything, right?
Yes, but still, unlike Joe, who even had a stroke on TV by having one of his eyes go, she can't hold herself. That's the problem.
Yeah.
She's gonna go berserk on TV.
Yeah,
and it's not because she's a woman; it's because she's crazy.
Why, you misogynist, you mansplainer. Yeah, she will. Yeah, she can't control her. She's probably going to be worse than Trump if she's in charge.
Worse than Trump? She's going to be she's going to be worse than dang it. Who came before Reagan?
Jimmy Carter.
Yes, she's going to be worse than Carter.
Well, but her attitude will be excused away by the media as a strong, independent woman.
For the first couple of times. But the thing is, there is no medication to balance her out.
No.
So that's only going to hold up for the first couple of months. And after that, they're going to have to pull the Joe and keep her inside.
Well, I think what the 25th Amendment was not about Trump. I agreed on that when I heard that. I think Rush Limbaugh said the same thing. It was for Joe to install Kamala because they thought they were going to have the Senate, the House, and the White House.
Exactly.
And ram everything through, and Joe might not play the game they want him to play, so they'll just get rid of him, install her, and she'll sign everything that Nancy wants. And Chuck.
Exactly. And they didn't have that.
Well, now they don't. There's just no way. The Senate's going to block everything now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said in the beginning, the Democrats would have the House, the Republicans would have the Senate. And, well, I wish the Democrats the best of luck with their election fraud, because if it pops out, it's going to take not just Joe, it's going to take the whole DNC, the whole kit and caboodle down.
Boogie thinks they're going to take Georgia away from Trump and then lose that Senate seat, but let me quickly look. I thought Tommy Tuberville was still up quite a bit. And I even think that his opponent, who beat Roy Moore, and I can't remember this guy's name for the life of me, but his opponent, I thought he conceded, but I could be wrong. I'll have to look that up. The Georgia Senate race. Tommy Tuberville was up by a huge margin. Now remember, it's not a statewide.
The thing with Boogie is he's pretty correct. As currently with Georgia, Trump is only at a 0.1 lead.
Oh,
at 99% of the vote
on the presidential race. I'm talking about the Senate race. Oh, David Perdue was the gentleman. Sorry, against John Ossoff. So, but I can't find a damn thing on this right now.
I got it. But John Ossoff needs 100,000.
Yeah, it was, and it's not a statewide race. The states are split up into districts for senators.
Yeah.
So if it's 100,000 still, that's going to be tough for Ossoff to overcome.
Yeah, because hooray for the libtards, because Shane Hazel has 130,000 votes.
So it looks like
they might actually flip her vote, his vote, Shane Hazel's vote, to John Ossoff, just to equalize.
Oh, you think so?
That's the only way I see how that happens. They have to flip the lip vote.
It'd be tough to do that now with 99% of the vote in, unless they
98%. To be clear,
unless they miraculously find ballots for Ossoff, but that's a huge number in a Senate race.
That's like that's what I'm saying. They'd have to flip Shane Hazel's vote
and say, "Okay, we need to give this to Ossoff." Now, it goes to a runoff. Well, then Purdue would probably win. If it went to a runoff, if they're under 50, I didn't hear that, but I don't know. Every state is different in this country. It's ridiculous. Like if you had 49% of the vote and you were running against Chuck Schumer and he had 47, he loses. Right? There is no, you have to have 50% to win. So there'd be another election if it's 49.9, but I would say if they had a runoff election, I would guess that Georgia would come out en masse to make sure he won. That's what usually happens. But
let me check.
NBC's already saying that it's going to run off.
Oh my god! They're blocking European access to the runoff vote.
NBC is already calling it a runoff race, regardless of what.
Happens. But us Europeans are not allowed to see it.
Oh, really? You're being blocked?
Nope. Yep. Our apologies. Unfortunately, our website is currently unavailable in most European countries due to GDPR rules. That's the kind of bullshit that shouldn't be allowed.
This is what's coming here because you've already got people on the left in droves stating that people should be censored off the internet for making any statements they believe to be false.
Anybody on Twitter, they're already why do we have a two-party system? We should have a one-party system. That way, we're all united. How do you make that shit up?
I honestly wish we had a 3-party system here.
No. You don't want to have a purple party, because that's the thing.
That's the Libertarian Party.
No, the minute the Libertarian Party gains enough foothold, the Republicans and the Democrats will join sides. And you'll be stuck in the same quagmire we Dutch have.
Well,
you don't want that.
To be honest with you, a lot of Republicans and Democrats have already joined sides.
Yes, but for appearance sake, they have to compete. And because they have to compete, there is an option. The minute the third party comes in, they're going to rezone everything, just like they did over here. That's a scary thought.
That's why here in America they came up with a cute little word for it: bipartisan. We would not be in this mess today, folks, if we had listened to the anti-federalists who wanted Congress to have, at least at this point right now with America, 50 states and population, we'd have about 4,700 congressmen right now. You know why they wanted that? So we wouldn't be in this mess right now. So that they could pass virtually nothing at the federal level. That's what the anti-federalists wanted.
Well, yeah, but who's going to listen to reasonable people, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to read the
Oh no, we have those agencies over here as well. So,
well, the anti-federalist papers, where they, I've read quite a few of them. That was one of the things that stuck out to me, and I thought to myself, right now we probably would not have been in 3/4 or maybe 90% of the wars we've been in, or conflicts as they like to call them. We wouldn't have a federal income tax. We wouldn't have so many federal agencies up your ass.
No, but that's the thing. We have those. We have an agency that guards the rights of the Dutch people, and which came with where the Dutch tax IRS pretty much was a huge racist conglomerate. Stuff like that. Those lawsuits are currently running wild, which is fun for us in March when we get to vote. All we Dutch need is a couple of Muslims killing people and some more stricter corona measures, and we're set for life. Because then we'll lose our purple party.
Oh, so the purple party hurts your country.
Yeah, they're basically Republicans and Democrats all together.
So,
and they gatekeep any other political party.
I am so tired I can barely read, but yeah, Boogie was right. See, every state here in this country is different, and I don't know all the rules in all of the states. So apparently there's a runoff, and I think California has that rule too. That's about the only two I know of now. New York, if you got, like I said, if you're at 49% and you're the winner, you win. But this 50% thing, I don't know why they have these insane rules. If people voted, they voted, and that's the way it should be, right?
Well, yeah, but that's the whole thing. The reason they all build up this kind of crap is just to fuck with us, and
yep,
that's the main thing. The joke is, it used to be the Republicans being the established party.
Well, a lot of not a lot. I can't even say a lot. A bunch of the Republicans realized, hey, you know, we never reached, and I'll tell you, the Republican Party never reached out to minorities whatsoever until Trump came around. Never spoke to a guy who works in a factory like he was having a conversation in a bar. It's always platitudes and bullshit and campaign speak and stump speech rhetoric to the working guy. And I think that's why Trump appealed to a lot of people and started to appeal to the minority community, because he was actually saying things like they didn't want to hear it, but yeah, he's probably right. They weren't telling them, oh, we're going to fix it for you, without ever telling you how they're going to fix it for you. And then eventually that politician in your area retires on a multi-million-dollar, estate and does interviews on CNN. So I think that's why Trump started to appeal to the African-American community and Hispanic community and those dirty, rotten Cubans. Go back to Cuba. You should be happy to have Castro. I think that was one of the comments. Castro's a good man. Why would you leave your democracy of Cuba? What's wrong with you? I don't know what it's going to take to get people to realize that in this country, more government, federal government, more handouts is not what we need. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe it will take another civil war.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. They get to the point where you're like, how racist can you be to be not called racist?
I'm just amazed that the left was doing that for the last couple of days, and I didn't see these tweets because, number one, we did the show Tuesday night. I had 2.5 hours of sleep. I was on with Boogie last night, and quite frankly, I was shot because I worked in between. But then to hear Royce this morning while I was working in the shop start talking about the blue check marks and their tweets about Cubans, I was like, wait a minute, who's he talking about? I had to stop and pause. And he said it's all these leftist blue check marks. And it's amazing when their racism pours through after they've been calling Trump a racist for 4 years. It's just, I just almost fell off the stool laughing. I was like, are you kidding me? It's like,
well, that's the whole irony. Because this is basically giving not just Trump, but everyone else legitimacy to say, why are we being silenced while these racists are allowed? In fact, they're promoted.
Well, that's, just mentioning the Cubans today, this has been going on with black people on Twitter who are supporting Trump. That's been going on for a long time, where they get comments in their feed like, and I don't want to say the words because I don't want to get D-Live, man. The N-word, House Negro, sellout, you're a traitor to your race. And it's not coming from black people on Twitter. It's coming from white people. It's like, are you serious? How could you support Trump, sellout? You're a traitor to your race. You're the C word, COON, and it's like, they're on Twitter still. And you're like,
well, that's the irony with them. They think they're safe behind their check mark. But they don't have to worry about us white folks. They're going to have to worry about the black people living in their cities who have access to the internet these days.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got them. It's the elitist mentality, like that tweet I just showed about land doesn't vote. So the people who live on that land, and if you don't live in those blue cities, then you're just an ignorant rube, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Those blue cities have other people living there. And it's not the arrogance, it's literally the yellow star people. Because these are the people who didn't get a trophy, they got a participation trophy. So the minute they get gratification by anyone with authority, they go ham. They go full dictator.
That's what happens in New York. All right, New York City residents, because New York State, there's a group that's been growing exponentially called it's something like segregate New York City from New York State, right? And make New York City its own damn state, make New York State its own state by itself, keep New York City away from the rest of the state. They're killing us, right? Well, that group used to get laughed at. Now there's people going, I'm joining that. I'm joining that shit because I'm tired of it, right? New York City has an attitude toward people who live where I live that we're just a bunch of dumb rubes, and without them, we wouldn't survive. But I love the farmer up the road who says, without us, they don't eat. Right? That's the attitude they have in New York City. They have an attitude like, without us, you can't live.
But do you know what your state's people need to do, especially your farmers? They don't have to look for a Chinese market. Just look for an out-of-state market. And don't sell to New York. See what happens.
You're right. Don't sell to New York City. You could stop that. I mean, a lot of our milk and corn and everything gets shipped to New York City.
Yeah, and any farmer out of state, they're going to charge a premium.
How about their precious windmills?
Because that's a market.
Their precious,
that's a gold.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Gold market. So the minute they know, oh, New York isn't getting food from themselves, I'm going to up my price.
Yeah. So the other thing is, their precious windmills. They put a ton of them out in the southwestern portion of the state and run power lines to New York City. You know, we'll just cut those power lines. You don't need it, right? Because you don't need us, right? You don't need our land, right? We're just land, right?
Yeah, but that's power. That's power company stuff. You can't touch that. But what you can do is basically any produce you make, sell it to another state.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even if it's 1 cent under the dollar than the usual price, it would take a year or two. They'll come crawling back.
Yeah, the farmer's right. He said, "Without us, you don't eat." So we're a bunch of dumb rubes out here, and we need to listen to you. That's why New York State, and I can tell you for a fact, that's why New York State has no manufacturing, virtually no manufacturing anymore. I can count off in my area alone at least 4 dozen factories that have closed in the last 30 years to 40 years. And it's always, oh, NAFTA did that or a global economy did that. No. The factory my father worked in when I was young was closed because of New York City politicians told the city of Utica to, hey, you got to get them to pay their fair share. And you know what that factory did? We'll go to Tennessee. And they left.
Exactly. Well, simple comparison. We in the Netherlands, we have basically about 21 million people. So you get close to New York. Last year, the Dutch government thought of, let's tax the crap out of the farmers. Take a guess what happened.
Oh, what
we don't have a lot of military. We don't have a lot of cops. The government was basically looking for a fallout shelter because all the farmers marched on, and unlike they had thought, the Dutch people were like, "You go, farmer. You need help." I did it on my show where everyone from America was like, wait, you guys do this? Yeah. The minute you touch the farmer, you're screwed. Every farmer, because they try to divide the farmers. We have northern farmers and we have southern farmers, and they try to basically give the northern farmers leeway. So they could trounce on the southern farmers. The northern farmers pretty much said, "We accept our southern farmers," and the southern farmers said, "We are northern farmers." And that's kind of the thing. The minute you touch a farmer, even with construction companies, they try to touch that as well. So the whole demolition crew came by and they were like, "How about we demolition this building, the government building?"
You see, the sad thing about the farmers in this country is the government price controls everything. So milk has never gone over $3 a gallon in Lord knows how long it's been.
Yeah, but do you know what the Dutch farmers did?
What'd they do? Did they have that same problem, or
They dropped the milk.
oh?
It took a week, and they were back in business. And that's
Yeah.
the thing. Drop the milk, see what happens, because they're gonna come out in full force with cops fining the farmers.
Yep.
On what grounds? You're not obligated to sell. That's the thing. There's no court that will allow that, because you're not obligated. Because then it would be slave trade, which is the same thing we pulled over here. We're not slaves.
Well, that's
So
why they
if
try
we
to
don't want
keep.
to sell milk, we're not going to sell milk. If you need milk, go get it somewhere else.
That's why they try to keep the farmers on subsidies here in America, so that they don't do that. But it's almost
If
like
the
a
farmers-
welfare
farmers-
system for farmers here.
Yeah,
It-
but if the farmers own the land, it's not a problem.
The problem here again is tax. Real estate tax, school tax. They hit them hard, so that they have to rely on that government subsidy to get by. Farmers don't make a lot of money here. That's why it's a dying industry in this country.
Again, if the farmers are smart, pull it for a month.
Mhm.
Let them raise their taxes. See what it will do. Because the problem remains. They're going to have to get their milk somewhere else.
Right.
That's
And-
the problem.
And they can do that with corn. They can do that with
They can
virtually
do that
everything.
with any crop they have. And let me tell you, even a military vehicle is no punch up versus a tractor. Because a military vehicle taxes out at 1100 horsepower. A tractor will go way beyond it, and they can pull away a tank. So, because when a tank gets stuck, what do you call a tractor?
Oh, a little breaking news here. Less than an hour ago, Republicans picked up another House seat in Pennsylvania, apparently. 10th Congressional District. I'm not sure where that is in Pennsylvania, but
That's the main problem. It's the whole divide and conquer thing. In America, it's super successful.
yes,
Because
it is.
people in America may hate unions, but you need a farmers union. That's just a given.
When it comes to factories and schools, unions. I have said this for a long time. I worked in a school for a short period of time. Unions need to be taken out of schools because look at our education system. We're 44 and 43rd in the world in math and science and reading. It's only gotten worse. And the solution politicians come up with, we need more money. Well, we spend like the second highest amount in the world in getting the worst results. So at some point, money can't fix everything, right?
Well, that's the thing. Over here in the Netherlands, we don't really give a crap about schools. We just have, you need to abide by by certain grading stances. If you can't make it, you're no longer a school. So you can unionize all you want. If you don't make that grade, you're not gonna cut it out. Because we've had a huge complaint from the Muslim community where we can't have a Muslim school. Really? You've tried it 5 times already. Every time you don't have enough teachers, you don't have enough students, and the grades are not up to par.
Right.
So,
See, if
whose
you
fault is that?
if you could get rid of teachers because their classroom, say a teacher has a year where the class doesn't make the grade, right? The grades for math and science, reading, whatever. Here you can't get rid of them. It's once they're tenured, they're locked in for life.
Yeah, we don't have tenure.
Yep, that's what we need to get rid of.
We do have tenure in universities, but universities are a beast of their own. In colleges and high schools and middle schools and grade schools, they're all basically you're hired until we don't need you.
Yep. Now, I had a friend that was on a school board, and
that's a thing in America as well. You guys have huge school boards. You got
Yeah.
like 50 people in a high school of maybe 2,000 or 3,000 students.
Yep.
Where over here we barely have a school board to begin with. We may have 5 people in there.
well, against the union, the school board's a waste of time anyway. Why even have it? Because they can't do anything. When they go to pass a budget and they say, "Hey, look, we can't raise school taxes this year because we've done it for 5 years in a row." The union's got to give us something. No, absolutely not. We'll strike. That's it. We'll walk out. And the school board says, "Well, okay, we got to raise taxes 2%." Really quietly slip it out there. And we have a contingency backup. What they do is they say we need to raise taxes 3%, but they really need 1.5%. So if 3% fails in the vote, we're going to make it 1.5%, regardless of whether you vote on that or not. So,
yeah, it's going to be the illusion of choice.
Yes. Yep.
And that's something you need to. Guys need to have a rule against the illusion of choice, because that's the main crux in American policies and politics.
Yep.
Where they're gonna be. This is a horrible bill. Well, here's a slightly horrible bill.
Yeah. Here's a horrible bill, but we hit it all with lawyer language, so you can't understand it. Oh yeah, that's a great bill compared to what you gave me. Okay. This is the choice you have. This is you're absolutely right. This is what's wrong in Congress is they argue, but they're not arguing on our behalf. They're fighting over nothing. It's all an illusion. They're fighting to get to what they really want. Right?
But at least you guys rotate your Congress.
Somewhat.
Our house. We have the first chamber, which is basically our house. That hasn't changed in 50 years.
Wow. We've got that too, though. Remember, like people like Elijah Cummings, Nancy Pelosi, Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, but I'm talking
Mitch
about
McConnell. What's that?
I'm talking about the entire house. I'm not talking about 5 people who you can't get rid of.
Well, we've got about 50
house you can't get rid of.
We've got about 30 senators and probably 200 congressional seats that are people that have been there for 30 years plus.
That's kind of the problem.
Yep, it is a problem.
It's like the U.S. military problem. During World War II, you could fire a general. During the Korea War, you could no longer fire a general. And ever since then, battles have been bloody.
Yep.
Well, it's not about saving the troops. No, it's a buddy game. We have more bodies than them, so we'll win.
Here's one thing I'll say. If Joe Biden is declared the president, sworn in, I will tell you this. We will be in a conflict within 6 months. Guaranteed.
Yeah. You're going to hit Iran.
Yeah. Or Syria. We'll be back in Syria.
You're going to hit Iran.
We'll have to make something up. Like they'll hit Iran, and then we got to get into another conflict in the Middle East, so they'll have to say that Assad gassed children again based on CIA and 17 intelligence agencies, which we don't need, telling the Biden or Harris, we need to get back into Syria. And Mark my
Do I
words,
look
we'll be
like I
right
know
back
what
there.
a JPEG is? I just
Yeah,
want a
but
picture of a
ever since
goddamn
Bush
hot
came to
dog.
power, I was already like, so when are you guys going to hit Iran?
Yeah.
Because Iran is currently surrounded by U.S. troops.
I'm surprised he didn't, but he did create enough havoc over there to suffice for the military machine.
Well,
Right?
he had to act, or he was going to get lose the election period.
Yep. You mean after 9/11?
No, I mean Trump.
Oh, Trump. Okay.
Came to Iran. When Iran blew up that plane, he had to blow up a plane because if he didn't, he would have lost the vote.
I'm talking about
in the election.
I'm talking about an all-out conflict like Syria, like when we went into Libya, got involved there. Egypt. I mean, where there wasn't a good war Obama didn't like, right? I mean,
you guys only got into Syria because Putin gave the Syrian government support after Turkey gave the partisan support. And as it currently stands, I hope Trump wins because Biden will side with Turkey and Europe is going to go to war with Turkey.
Oh, you think so?
You guys haven't paid attention to European politics at all since this election. Turkey has basically declared a fatwa to all the European nations that sided with that declared Armenian genocide and the Turkey issue.
Well,
so
like
currently we will be heading people in France. There has been attacks in Austria. There has been death threats in Germany. Over here in the Netherlands, we have teachers who got death threats. And the Dutch government was like, well, just report it to the police. So we have a sitting minister, Geert Wilders, from a right-wing party who has like over 100 death threats. And so he posted on Twitter the response of the Justice Department to his death threats. And they were basically saying, not enough evidence to act upon. So what's the use of filing a death threat to the police?
Well, it's going to be interesting because after the first conflict, you think after Biden or Harris gets in the first conflict because we have to, and it'll be some kid all bloodied up in somebody's, some rescue worker's arms to tug at the heartstrings. That'll be all over the media, all over social media, and we have to go into such and such country. And
to address Iceman's comment, all I want to say is all we Europeans have to do is tell the Polish government to release the militias. And Poland has a militia the size of the current American Army and Navy and Air Force combined. And they're armed pretty much on par with the Russian army. All we have to go, let them loose.
There's one thing about Poland is based. Poland is based. Yeah.
And that's the thing. West Europe is going to become based in the next couple of years. Yeah. Macron already has seen the light. He had to dismiss the whole Turkish action because otherwise he would lose his presidency. And with any luck, we Dutch will have a new political party in control in March due to the so many fuck-ups our current government has been doing. So that's going to be fun.
That's actually what is. This is my opinion. What will happen here is the United States will have a huge faction of based people. Because what's going to happen with the left now, they're going to say Joe won, Kamala's there, Kamala's in charge, whatever happens. They're going to go full woke all around the country. And this is how you create white supremacists and racists, by continuing to call them racist when they're not.
The irony is
And to
they're
to force your hand of diversity everywhere.
here's the thing. They're not going to create racism in the Republican Party. They're going to create racism in the Democratic Party.
Right.
That's the irony. Because they're all going to feel self-entitled and having the right to do so.
Well, look,
because they got the check mark.
Look at the conversation we just had about the blue checks going after black voters that voted for Trump and the Cubans. I mean, telling them to go back where they came from. Wasn't that a battle cry when Trump said that about Ilhan Omar? If you don't like it here, you can always go home, you know? That was a huge cry from the same check marks that are telling Cubans to go back home.
Yeah, it's going to get worse. Because people say, oh, the Mexicans are on our side. No, they're on their own side. And the minute you're gonna hit the Mexican values, they're gonna side with the Republicans as well.
Yep.
And that's the thing. People seem to forget even the black people are based.
Well, that's what the left doesn't understand about the Hispanic community. They are all about abortions. They are all about all these leftist socialist ideology, and they, quite frankly, they're more religious than the left likes to believe. They are. Most Latin Americans from South America are religious. And if they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, they're gonna just flock right to the Republican Party. That's why I think Trump gained so many Hispanics in this election.
That's why. That's the thing. What I said during the whole election stream, the Democrats focused on the North, and they forgot the South.
Yep.
And they didn't expect the South to pull this.
Yeah, well, we saw that tweet about the gentleman Ray Kwong who thinks that the rest of the country is just nothing. You know, just these. Look at that map I pulled up, and I'll show the audience here the map. That map, that there's not as much blue as they'd like to think. I mean, they're all centered in the east, northeast, right, in the southern end of California, but you get rid of that, and what do you have left? You can't pretend that the rest of the country being red doesn't exist.
Well, that's the thing. That's the scary bit with Biden in control. You'd be surprised how much rigging there is going to be in the red areas.
How much what?
They're going to rig the polls in all the red areas then.
Yeah. They're going to have to.
They're going to campaign hard. That's the thing. They've been doing it with the courts. They're going to do it with the polling centers next. Where they're just, you'll see polling centers suddenly a polling person earns suddenly 100,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Where did that come from?
Right.
You know? And that's the scary bit, and that's why I'm saying if Trump gets in, Biden is going to drain the swamp, because his election is going to drain the swamp.
Well, right, because it's going to be, if there's a lot of fraud, and I'm inclined to believe that Trump knows something that he obviously can't divulge right now. If it's out there in everybody's face and the media just can't hide it anymore, that's the other problem. Well, the media cover it up, but if the media just can't hide outright fraud that's been proven, then you're going to see a big push to have a more reasonable election system than we have now, because what we have now is garbage.
Like I said, the FBI is going to eat itself, the DNC is going to eat itself, and the media is going to eat itself, just to distance itself from this. And that's going to be an amazing feat because they're going to kill themselves at that point, just to not be prosecuted.
Well, I hope you're right, but because this is quite frankly this election is not the first time this garbage has happened. It's been happening for a long time. And
The only scary bit is they might shift to the Republican Party the minute this happens.
well, that's what the Democrats are hoping to race this thing through, call Biden the winner, and don't be surprised if by Friday they say Joe Biden won. And Trump's just not wanting to go away like we told you. He won't leave exactly like we told you. See?
That's the thing. Trump will basically simply state, "I'm going to wait the court's decision." That's all he's going to say. He's not going to say he's not going to leave.
Right. Well, they've set up this narrative.
Yeah, but he's tactical about it. They're never going to catch him on, because he said, "Well, we'll see how this is going to go down." During his Biden, when was that? With the mute button.
Yeah.
Because that's when he said, "We'll see how it turns out," because he already knew what's going to happen.
That's why he looks, to Boogie's point, a little, I don't know, tired, but maybe he was more calm, knowing
he was killing them softly. He was speaking with a very soft tone.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Democrats don't buy into that, if the news, MSNBC doesn't buy into that, where it's like, "Oh crap, he's on to us," they're going to get steamrolled right over.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I guess based on how many lawsuits he's put out there already, and from previous history in Michigan, especially, where it wasn't Democrats that called for a recount. It was the Democrats that got Jill Stein to ask for a recount in Michigan, which she wasn't even in the ballpark in Michigan, but she asked for a recount. And what was happening is, like I said earlier in the show, Trump was gaining votes by a lot every hour, and all of a sudden they were begging for it to stop. But I don't think Jill Stein wanted that recount. I think she was asked and financed to do it.
Yeah, they were like, push it, and she was like, "Don't, because we're getting her screwed."
Yeah, the minute he started gaining votes, they wanted it over. Stop. We don't need to do this. Because it started exposing the fraud, right?
Yeah, they're exposing the business.
Right. I mean, even New York State has not finished counting the votes. I just can't believe this. It's unheard of, this going on in 2020. I never thought this would happen.
Well, the main thing is I'm keeping a close eye on Nevada, because the minute Nevada turns red, the steamroll starts rolling.
You're talking about Nevada?
Yeah, the minute it turns red, because that's basically the crux state right now. Because Biden needs Nevada. If Biden gets Nevada, they get to, like Boogie already said, they get to call Biden a victory. But the minute Nevada calls red,
mm-hmm.
Trump will start every investigation instantly.
Well, I think they've already started.
They already started, but then it will go in overdrive. That's what I mean.
Right.
Then the roller gets started.
Georgia, just an FYI, Georgia is already calling for a recount. So, and Trump apparently won Georgia, but they are saying, nope, we got to have a recount. So which means is they don't call a winner. They're not going to call a winner.
Because the minute Trump gets Georgia, all other states will follow. That's the whole problem. That's why they've been stalling and stalling and stalling. I mean, why on earth is Alaska still at 50%?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That doesn't make any sense. It's like it was weird election night when we were all on. And when Trump started making surges in Michigan, Wisconsin, it looked like he was going to start gaining a lot of states. Everything shut down across the country. It just
He
seems
was going
weird.
to. Well, that's the whole thing. That's the main problem. It's not just Wisconsin pausing. It's not just Michigan pausing. It's every state pausing. And that's basically a conspiracy.
Right. I agree.
Because they all stopped at the same time. And you'd think there would be a time difference, since there's a time difference between the states. You know, because if you're going to stop at 4 p.m., Central, for instance, you'd also stop at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Okay,
You'd
so
stop at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then Central, everyone else is stopping. That was the weird bit.
I've been watching the Election Wizard and Larry Schweikert on Twitter instead of going to the media or the maps, and they've been on target. Quite honestly, they've been on target on everything. An hour ago, Schweikert says Trump's on target to win Arizona, North Carolina, and like I said, apparently he won Georgia, but they won't call it. If he wins those 3 states and Pennsylvania, he's won, right? Correct?
Yes, but that's the thing. The reason why this is going so slow is they want their blue wave. That's the stupid bit about them.
Yeah, because they need it. That was the narrative that
they want the Senate and the House. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, they're fucking. I mean, Democrats can be. They're literally shooting each other in the foot over and over again and expecting different results.
Exactly. It's just I'm still baffled by everything that's going on. I've never seen anything like this, where states just outright stop counting. I never saw anything like this. And then magically, 3 hours later, they've got set 800,000 ballots, and there's a 100,000 ballot lead for Biden when he was down 600,000. They couldn't.
The biggest argument would be, which I would love, is basically Biden wins and the European Union wouldn't recognize Biden as the president.
Oh, they will, though.
Well, that's the thing. Over here, their backyards are burning as well. And they're basically, currently, they're already trying to shift places. Our president has sided with our right-winged compatriot, who he has vilified over and over again. They're trying to save their own power base. So that's kind of the problem.
Well, it's like they want to keep their power, so they've got to move in the right direction to keep that power.
Yes, exactly. And the problem is January comes before March. We Dutch are first, then it's the Belgians, then it's the French, then it's the Germans. The Polish are already right-winged. The East Bloc, our Eastern European countries, already had their right-wing vote being called in. So it's only Western Europe. Spain and Italy will come in 2022. So it's basically they're up for grabs next year after Biden gets his vote. That's kind of the problem.
But you still think that Trump is going to pull it out in the end, right?
Yeah, Well, through the courts, yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying if Nevada turns red, the fun starts. That's why I want Nevada to call. I call it already.
Now, I wonder if he had, I don't know if I want to call it plants or somebody out there that's been relaying what's been going on, because he's got to have some concrete evidence.
Yeah, he had people in there. He is not stupid.
Yeah, I would imagine he had, because for him to come out, not really give you anything, but we know
Trump is not going to come with a video of Veritas. Let's be honest.
Well, that, and he's not going to spill the beans on what he knows, right? Before the court cases come, and
not just for the court cases, but the Democrats need to, he's basically letting them, it's basically when you have a discussion and you're already winning because they're proving your point. So you let them talk. And that's what Trump currently is doing. He's basically softly, that's why I'm saying at the start of today's speech of Trump, I was like, either he's throwing in the towel or he's going to take action. And the more he started to talk, the more I was like, this is killing them softly.
Well, what he's got them doing is sitting there going, what does he know? Right.
Yes, exactly. And they already are like, oh, we can spin this for the people. Trump sounds scared. However, we damn well know he isn't, because he would be screaming if he knew he'd lost.
Well, the attempted manufacture of a blue wave is because of what's going on right now. And I didn't see a lot of it on Twitter, but I caught some bits and pieces of it, was that the Democrats are slitting each other's throats right now in the Congress.
Like I said, they're killing each other.
Yeah.
They're now all going to eat each other just to stay safe.
The far left is the radical left, like the AOC wing of the party, which is probably half of Congress now, of the Democrats, is saying, see, we told you should have gone full radical. The new Green Deal, laid it all out there, not hit it, we would have had the blue wave. The moderate, or the Nancy Pelosi, or whatever you want to call her, the Uniparty.
They've been around and they know what's going to come.
Right. They wanted all that. They ran that campaign with Joe Biden, and most of the Democrats, even in my district, Anthony Berdizzi, did not talk about what they were going to do whatsoever. He talked about, my opponent sucks. That was their strategy throughout the entire country, was talk about your opponent. They suck. Don't tell anybody what we're about to do. And the radical left is saying we should have told them what we were going to do. And the Uniparty is going, shut up. We did the right thing. We did if we told everybody what we were going to do, we would have gotten slaughtered, which they're probably right, to be honest with you. Because if they came out full new Green Deal, that would have been the end of the Democrat Party this election.
The only scary bit about Trump winning is it's going to give Trump carte blanche to fix the FBI, to fix the CIA, to fix all the intelligence agencies. And the problem with it is basically whose interest is he going to follow?
Right.
Because he's going to get carte blanche the minute the whole election is rigged, thing gets blown out and the swamp gets drained. Because if he's going to refill that swamp, you're going to be worse off than before. That's kind of the problem, because they're just going to switch. Because the people behind it, they're just going to switch colors.
Well, here's what I said on our Saturday show. I said that we should get rid of the 17 intelligence. We don't need 17 intelligence agencies. Okay, fire the entire FBI, dismantle the CIA, re-establish the FBI, hiring former military members, because quite frankly, you're better off doing that instead of lawyers, which they've been hiring for the last 30 years, attorneys. you got a lot of military veterans that need work. Well, there you go. They'd be more than happy, and obviously they're patriotic. They went to the military, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. What I'm saying that it's going to be scary because what you're basically going to be creating is a second military agency.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, it is scary, but at least they're 99% patriotic and aren't going to screw over the country.
The main problem is those military are not in the known and they're not aware. Yeah. And that's where the special interest groups come, where the scary special interest groups come from, is if they're going to change colors and Trump is going to let them, you're worse off. That's the main problem.
Right. It's got to be.
Like I said,
the problem is, though, what do you do now? I mean, what you got in the FBI is an absolute disgrace right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's like I said, Trump is going to get if the whole election conspiracy pops out with Biden. Trump is going to get carte blanche on anything,
right?
And the Democrats don't get a say in anything,
right?
So even if the House is divided, because they're all complicit.
Right. You got to be able to find honest people to be in the FBI. And I said this too on the show, and it might have made some people upset, but I'm tired of hearing, but the rank and file. Well, if the rank and file were so good, we wouldn't be in the mess we are now with all this. There's not one whistleblower in the FBI the entire time. The Russian thing, voting fraud, all these things the FBI is investigating. Hunter Biden, right? We've been investigating for a year. Well, why are we just hearing about it? You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. If you want to fix the FBI, I would put the Army, I would put the Navy, and I would put the Air Force in there. Because those three hate each other.
Right.
Because otherwise you'll have, again, the rank and file problem.
Right. Right. Because if you eliminate the entire FBI and rebuild it and turn around and hire more attorneys like they've done, you're going to get the same thing. You're going to end up with the same thing in less than 10 years, right?
Not for Trump to pull a lawyer joke then. That would be the best bit the minute he pulls that one. What do you call clearing the FBI? A good start.
And you'd have to hit the DOJ too. At least half of it. And quite frankly, where the heck has Bill Barr been with all these investigations? It's amazing that they can't complete an investigation before an election, but they did an investigation on emails and laptops and everything in 60 days. Isn't that amazing? On Hillary's emails, they did an investigation on the laptop and emails in under 60 days, but they can't get an investigation done after 3 years.
Well, that's where the Hunter Biden laptop leak was from. It was so close to the election, they couldn't they couldn't pull that.
Yeah, because what do you do after the election? Now you talk about it and you arrest the guy? Whoa, why did you tell us? But the media did everything they could to hide that because not many people know about that.
Yeah, I think that store owner was pretty much a government agent, to be honest.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Because that's one of those things where it's like, it's too easy to pull that off, Mm-hmm. Here's something for the media to cover up. Yeah. When they're already going to screw up the election.
And it was an absolute cover-up. Absolutely. It's just disgusting. Not only the FBI, but I don't know what happens with the mainstream media after all of this. It's pretty much dead right now, to be honest with you. I mean, even the Fox people are furious with Fox. Everybody's going, what in the hell is going on? They're calling states. Even reasonable people on on the Democrat side were saying, "Wait a minute, how can you call a state with no votes cast?" Yeah, I think the average person is looking at the FBI, the media, the DOJ, and going, "What the hell is going on?"
That's the thing. Even as a high school dropout, notice the glaring problem.
Yes.
And that's kind of where the problem is. Because, which state was it? Wisconsin or Michigan, where even the CNN people were like, whoa, what just happened? When that state suddenly turned blue. And that's kind of the thing. This wasn't. It was as coordinated, as chaotic as it was, and that's kind of where the problem lies. Not everyone was privy on it.
That's right. Absolutely. Lucifer Sam tweeted out into Twitter land, and I like Lucifer Sam, but we will reverse this stupid shit by delivering something to the American worker rather than reality TV entertainment and bullshit corrupt partisan narratives. Lucifer, I'm sorry, but you're accusing Trump of that? Do you not listen to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Maxine Waters and Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler? And do you ever listen to them? I'm just wondering. Just wondering. He thinks partisanship is going to stop if bad Orange Man's gone. I'm sorry, Lucifer Sam, but you're insane. I mean, seriously. Do you think partisanship's going to end once Trump's gone?
No, but even when Trump wins, partisanship will stay.
Yes, it doesn't matter who's there. It doesn't matter who is in office. In fact, the AOC wing of the Democrat Party is playing partisan politics if Joe wins. They're saying if Joe wins, we're going to force him to our side. Is that not partisan against your own party? I mean, come on, Sam. They're going to be tearing each other's throats out. If Biden says, look, I'm not going to do that, the AOC group will be right out on the steps, saying that he's needs to be removed from office with the 25th Amendment and Kamala Harris needs to be installed. Oh, just funny.
Yeah, that's the thing with Saturday at the end where we had Granny and the good doctor on. Mm-hmm. They were like, no one is going to take this. They're going to stand. And I was like, really? Because that's the problem. The people are not. A few will stand, but not all. And that's the main problem. Everyone's going, oh, we're going to call Balkan State. We're going to go civil war. No, we're not. No. Because most people want to be left alone.
Exactly. Most people most people want to not have to pay taxes, or at least as much as they're paying here, especially in New York State. They want to go to work, live their life, take care of their family. They don't want all this crap nonstop. Fighting in Washington, spending trillions and trillions of dollars and turning around and saying, yeah, we're going to stick it to the rich, guys. But then you look at your paycheck and go, wait a minute. You're sticking it to the rich, but how come I'm paying for part of it, right? But you got all these free programs. Yeah, but I don't want those free programs. I just want to live my life. I want some of my money to take care of my family, go on a vacation, but now I can't. But you got free college. I don't want it. They're going to force you to pay for things that's what communism is. Everybody pays for the greater good, right? I don't have any kids. Well, so what? You got to pay for free college because that's for everybody. But I don't have any kids. It doesn't matter. You got to pay anyway, right?
But that's the whole thing. People often think primarily from themselves, and they'll be the ones that shout the loudest, but they're still sitting on the couch.
Yep.
They're not going outside.
No, absolutely not. Well, I can't believe it. Another bang out 2 hours. We should probably just do a Victor and Phil show on Thursday nights.
That could be a thing.
I think it would be awesome because the conversations 2 hours goes by like it was 15 minutes.
If you want to do that, you gotta poll the chat. See if they want me as a co-anchor.
You heard him, chat. Do you want to hear Victor on the show every Thursday night? Press 1 for yes. If anybody's still out there. Usually they know at 8:30 we're getting toward the end. It's awesome. That's Monica. I'm going to say yes because Kitty's been in and out. Kitty B, she's in and out. Iceman's in and out. But yeah, we could float the trial balloon for a while and see what happens. It's up to you.
Just hold an internet poll. You'll a Twitter poll, for instance. Then you'll know for sure.
Yeah, because we get a lot of Kitty B says 1. Monica says 1. I will do that. I'll put out a Twitter poll, and because we get a lot of man, I'm tired. You get a lot of replay views because of certain people being on in the West. Here we have daylight. We have the different time zones. You get people in California watching it later in the day or later in the night. You get people in Texas watching it later. I think Doc and a few other people watch it later, the replay. So I'll put a Twitter poll out there. How's that?
Yeah, because the thing is, it's your show, it's your crowd, and that's how you have to see it. Because if your crowd is like, oh, I don't like this Victor.
No, I don't think so.
Well, the thing is, you can like me, but the thing is, if you run off your crowd, it's not going to work. That's how I look at it.
We'll get a new crowd for Thursday night, except for Monica and Kitty. They'll be here. That's okay though, because I like the conversation, so I might even pull a Boogie and say just too damn bad. But he's got a bigger crowd, so.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole thing. We need to get you to 500. So.
I won't be like Mersh and say I don't give a fuck. Get out of here. Only Mersh can do that, right? Oh, Monica says you're part of our crowd, Victor.
I'm glad to hear that.
All right, guys. Thank you for being on again, Victor. And it may be a regular Thursday night thing. I think a lot of people enjoy it.
Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just
The
want
crowd
a
decides.
picture of a damn hot dog.
We're a democratic show.
Thank you for the ice cream, Monica. So I'll put out that internet poll and we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll get a lot of yeses. Guys, don't forget the 500 to D Live t-shirt contest. We're going to give away 2 t-shirts, 1 large JJ Stoner Midget Wednesday shirt, perfect for the ample up top. I had to put that in there because Doc Martin thinks ample means fat.
And to talk about the JJ Stoner show, in December, on my birthday, there will be a Dindu Nothing for a belt. Anyone who wants the belt, there is a belt. I already have mine. If you want yours, you got to be around every Friday in December. There will be Dindo. If you get on the board, you're automatically in. On the final day, there will be a battle royale thing where newcomers will get to fight newcomers in hopes of getting on the board for the final countdown. And you'll be fighting me. So.
Oh, cool. Also, we'll be giving away a winning TV shirt from the winning, a T-shirt from the winning TV store on Teespring, a winning TV shirt, a Speakeasy shirt, or a Promises Kept shirt with Doc on one breast, myself on the other, facing inward. All right, guys. Thank you, and I'll put that poll out, retweet it, spread it far and wide. I got to do one thing for Monica, since Monica said very nice things to Victor. I'll play it a few times for her, but
why are you farming for coins when you have a heavy bag?
because I missed that on Tuesday night. My God, I almost said Saturday night. It's like Tuesday never happened. I don't know about you, Victor, but I'm like a day off or something now.
Donald Trump don't trust China.
But yeah, put on the poll, because we're a democratic show.
Yeah. And
we love our power elections.
That means I'll have to stuff the ballot box, though. I'll have to make a bunch of sock accounts and vote. All right, guys. Thank you, Victor. Again, looking forward to next Thursday.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely. I enjoy it. I actually enjoy it. Oh, yes, we all had a stressful night, Monica. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on today's Thursday. Man, I missed a day. We'll see you on Saturday night at 8 o'clock. I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll see. We'll see how Doc Martin's doing on Saturday night at 8 o'clock. Well, maybe we'll have to find something funny to put on to make her forget, and I'll send her a bottle of tequila. All right, guys, thank you once again. We're gonna get out of here. Have a good night.
know what happened in the evening when you started to fade away. Now my heart says you're leaving. I hope to see you again someday. Why did it happen? you every moment. Doesn't matter if it's night, doesn't matter if it's day. I can't stop